it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, November 25th. So today we have the moon in Taurus all day. And of course, the moon in Taurus, a fixed earth sign, we're definitely very present. We're trying to stick in the present moment. We're trying to stay in the here and now. We're very aware of our physical body, the highs, the lows, the everything in between. We understand where in our physical environment the changes, the transformations need to take place. We're very aware, but we want to slow things down. We want to stabilize in our inner realm, in our emotions, in our thoughts, before we go ahead and start pushing the boundaries on jumping into something new. Now, there are 10 different aspects here today. 6 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Taurus energy is going to make an interaction with Mercury. So Mercury rules our mental plane, rules over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. Mercury is in Sagittarius energy, so that's a mutable fire sign. We have a lot of big ideas. We're changing our mind, we're changing our path, we're changing our vision and our dream very rapidly. We have scatterbrained squirrel brain with this Mercury in Sag energy. We're kind of all over the place. But the one thing that we are doing while being all over the place in our mental plane with our thoughts, with our ideas, is we're trying to conjure up where it is that we want to go from here. So we're very visionary, projecting ourselves very, very far into the future. Well, the moon in Taurus does not enjoy that. We don't want to think about the future. We actually don't even want to think about the past. All we're trying to do is focus on the good things, the silver linings, the smaller things that bring us happiness, bring us joy, that make us feel safe and secure. The last thing that we want to do is push the boundaries with conjuring up a new vision, new dream, hyping ourselves up to take all kinds of action and make moves that are going to require a part of us that we're just not feeling safe and secure in right now. We are going to see the disconnect between how it is that we're thinking and how it is that we're feeling. It is likely that there's going to be a rapid processing going on in our headspace, constantly bouncing around like a pinball machine, but yet physically kind of in a state of paralysis. We're very slow moving. We want to take very, very good caution as far as how we're expending our energy. We just want to recoup. We want to kind of nurture and nourish ourselves. And we really just aren't in the mood or attitude to think about all of these big, great, grand ideas in the future. The moon in Taurus energy going to come up to, bump into, conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter is retrograde in Taurus energy right now. And of course, Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. Him being retrograde in this Taurus energy is an internalized reflection on how it is that we've grown, what it is that we've learned, and now what opportunities we want to create for ourselves now that we find ourselves in this particular situation and circumstance. The moon interacting with Jupiter in this way, first of all, is giving us all kinds of good feels if we're manifesting it in the highest version. If we're not manifesting it in the highest version, then this could be very overwhelming with thoughts, with ideas, with pressure, with just, feeling like we can't even figure out what is overwhelming us, what is wrecking our brain, what is applying pressure. We just know that we feel it. Now, if we're manifesting this in a positive way, the highest version of this energy, this is going to be a huge awareness on where it is that, guess what? We are doing a great job with healing, with becoming aware of what it is that our mind, body, and soul absolutely needs at this point. We are going to be optimistic and confident within ourselves, feeling good, safe, secure, pleasurable in this moment, in this circumstance, and really just feeling grounded and anchored into this present moment. Of course, the not so nice manifestation is definitely going to illuminate where we're not feeling any of those things. And don't let that get you down if that's how it's manifesting for you, because the, let's call it not so nice manifestation of this energy is showing you where change and transformation is needed the most, where it is that you're not feeling happy, pleasurable, joy, safe, security, stability, where you're not feeling any of those things. And of course, that should be a huge indicator on what needs your time, your energy, your attention first and foremost. But many of us are definitely going to have a glimpse on how much we've grown, how much we've healed. And because we are this new version of self and we have a new attitude of gratitude, what it is that we would like to create for ourselves as far as opportunities moving forward goes. Here's where things get sticky though. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles and responsibilities, structures, foundations, he's in Pisces energy. He's very low and slow and very much in a direct situation now. But again, just the movement is very low and slow. We have a new belief system. We kind of have done a whole lot of healing. We have released over the last 4.5 months of Saturn being retrograde in Pisces energy, old belief systems, old limiting beliefs, old fears, old doubts, old insecurities. We have a new discipline, a new willpower that we're kind of in right now, that we get to work with right now. But Saturn's going to go ahead and he's going to semi-square, which is creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict point with Chiron, the wounded healer. Okay, so Chiron, the wounded healer, he's retrograde in Aries energy. He has been for quite some time now. And the whole point of that is for us to be very aware, very cognizant of what is wrong, quote unquote, wrong with us, where our, let's call it mental blockages are preventing us from actually moving forward, where some of the pain and trauma that we've experienced in the past continuously blocking us from breaking free of those particular constructs, from that energy, from healing from those particular events. Now, this is the third final aspect and interaction that these two have been making. This has been a long-term transit. We had the first interaction between these two in February, so you may want to kind of jolt back to February, kind of think about what was going on for you, how it is that you were thinking and feeling at that time. The second aspect that we had was in August. And again, reminder, we have been working on this new version of self since August that just emerged under the new moon in Scorpio on November 13th. So think back to that mind frame. Think back to that time period. Where were you at? What were you thinking about? How it is that you were feeling? There was likely a change of heart going on at that particular time. Well, this is the final countdown, if you will. This is the final interaction, if you will. And what this is going to do, because it's not going to feel good, we're opening the wounds up here. What this is going to do is this is going to illuminate where there is a lot of fear. Fear of, let's say, not being confident, not feeling good enough, not feeling strong enough, not feeling like we have the ability to do the things that we know that we want to do, to bring the vision and the dream that we want to manifest to life, to essentially live up to the roles and the responsibilities that have been bestowed upon us, and essentially just not feeling good enough, worthy enough for the vision, for the dream that our higher selves want us to pursue. So very much Debbie Downer-ish, very much negative Nancy, right? The wounded healer is exposing all the wounds, and Mr. Saturn, he likes to rub salt in them so that we understand the choices that we're making to keep these wounds wide open so that we have an excuse to not do all the things that we know that we should be doing. First of all, we're finding it very hard because we know that this next chapter of our mission requires us to dance to the beat of our own drum. Many of us have been conditioned to not do such things, to not be the weirdo, to not take the leadership role, to not dance on a very, let's call it, weird path that other people could have a perspective upon that makes us feel like we're the lone wolf, like we're singled out, like we're the weirdo. There's a lot of fear, doubt, and insecurities coming up. We just had this new version of self emerge. We're not even feeling very comfortable in who it is that we currently are. We have a desire to break free from what is expected of us and what it is that we've been doing and what it is that have been sucking the life force energy out of us. But at the same time, we're not feeling ready to kind of bust out and break free and do all of the things that we know that we should do, that we have to do, that we are kind of compelled to do because our higher self is speaking to us, and we're just not feeling like we're well equipped to do all of the things that we know that we should be doing at this time. So to say that we're lacking in confidence is an understatement. I think it's an also very interesting dynamic that we're going this low, especially seeing as the sun and Mars and Mercury are all in Sagittarius energy now, which is the most optimistic, most confident energy that we could be sitting in. So when I say to you that we can only go as high as we've gone low, this is a very good example of that. We have all of the support, all of the encouragement from the cosmos to be at our highest selves, be the best version of ourselves, be as optimistic and confident as we've ever been. But yet you get the Lord of Karma and the wounded healer sitting around talking about life, and you best believe that we are going to find ourselves in a deep, dark pit. Now, that being said, the moon in Taurus is going to go ahead and semi-square Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy. That is his rulership. This is our, let's call it karma, soul contracts. This is our dreams, our creativity, our imagination. This is where inspiration comes into play. But of course, Neptune has been retrograde, internalizing that energy. So what we've been doing is having to face a lot of the parts of self that we've been running from a very long time. We are realizing what our dreams, what our visions actually are, but equally we're realizing where it is that we're scared to death to be the person that we have to be in order to actually make them come alive. And so, you know, the story of Saturn and Chiron kind of bringing us down this dark pit is going to continue. The moon in Taurus energy is creating tension and conflict with Neptune. This is essentially putting us in a state where, again, we're kind of looking back too far. The moon in Taurus doesn't want to do that. We're looking forward a little bit too far. Again, moon in Taurus doesn't want to do that. And equally, we're sitting with the awareness of our wounds at this point in time. We just had a beat down by Debbie Downer and Negative Nancy. And now it's becoming too much. We're overwhelmed. Neptune, especially in Pisces energy, it is the escape artist. We don't want to deal with life. We don't want to deal with reality. We don't want to confront our fears. We don't want to boss up. We don't even want to be a part of this anymore. We want to curl up in a ball. We want to watch movies. We want to live in La La Land. We want to numb ourselves from the overwhelming pressure that we're currently feeling to boss up, to get our shit together, and to actually jump into this brand new chapter. Here's where things are going to get even more intense. Okay, so we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire. He's now in Sagittarius energy. He's a little bit restless. He's gaining a little bit of frustration and anger because he wants to take action. He wants to make moves. He wants to basically act on his urges with no plan, with no path, with no strategy even being put into place. Again, we're lacking the information and details that we need to make an informed decision. We will gain that insight under the full moon in Gemini, but we're not there yet. Mars is going to get into this conversation between Saturn and Chiron. Okay, so first of all, he comes up to Chiron first. Okay, the wounded healer. Oh, poor woe is me. We're not feeling so hot. We're not feeling so strong. We're not feeling so confident. This is the attempt to get us out of the pit. You know, that Sagittarius energy that Mars is in is optimistic, is confident. We're setting our sights high. Anything is possible. Mars is here to give us a different mood, a different attitude, a different spin on the funk in which we're currently sitting in. He's like, come on, you're the only one who's going to dig yourself out of this dark pit. The light is there. The horizon is there. You just have to be willing to fight for yourself. So Mars goes ahead, gets into the boxing ring, squares off with who? Saturn. Okay, so first of all, Mars has big dreams. He has big ambition, big goals. And right now, we are kind of obsessed, borderline fixated on all of the things that we want to do, all the things that we could do. But of course, Saturn and Chiron, they just brought us way down. And so now Mars is a little bit frustrated because these two Negative Nancys and Debbie Downers are sitting around picking each other's wounds at the bottom of the pit when all he wants to do is get a fire lit underneath their ass so that they can adopt a new mood and attitude and tap into their warrior type of spirit to climb themselves out of this dark pit so that we can get started. We can initiate something new. We can fly high. We can explore. We can push the boundaries of who it is that we are, our truth, our mission, our purpose. But we sure as hell can't do that sitting at the bottom of a dark pit, picking our scabs and crying over the fact that they just won't heal, not realizing that if we just left them alone and we just bossed up and we just talked to ourselves in a more positive and encouraging type of narrative instead of the poor woe is me victimhood mentality, we could not only get out of this dark pit, but we could actually make some progress. in cleaning ourselves off, bossing ourselves up, realizing where it is that we cannot fear the roles and responsibilities that karmically speaking have been bestowed upon us, and where it is that we need a little bit more work on cultivating the warrior type of spirit that Mars is rearing to go in. So it's a very uncomfortable state for us. However, the moon in Taurus energy goes ahead and makes a positive interaction with Saturn. So we sit in that funk for, I'm going to say, 3 hours-ish. Once the moon and Saturn come together, this is where we get a little bit more realistic, a little bit more down to earth. We realize where we got carried away with that crying, with those wounds, with the picking of the scabs, with the fears, with the doubts, with the insecurities, okay? The moon in Taurus energy is here to stabilize our emotional realm. So this is kind of like us sitting here, sitting in the dark pit. We just had Mars do this beautiful speech on how we're warriors and we shouldn't be sitting around crying and we need to get ourselves out of the pit and dust ourselves off. Well, we do that because the moon is helping us to see our worth, helping us to see our values, helping us to see the skills, the talents that we have in order to create something new, to bring something new to life, bring something new into form. We just have to believe in ourselves. It all comes down to self-worth and self-confidence. So this is like a boss up bitch energy, if I do say so myself, because Mr. Karma, Saturn, is sitting here and he's like, oh, well, damn. Yeah, I did forget who it is that I was. I did forget that I've been through worse in life. I did forget that I have all of these skills, all of this wisdom, all of this knowledge that I have to be integrating into my here and now and stabilizing within myself so that I don't fall victim to the whiny, complaining, poor, woe is me narrative every single time that something gets scary, that we are kind of met with a challenge, with an obstacle that requires us to be a better, different version of ourselves. So this is working for us. We're starting to pick ourselves up. We're starting to dry ourselves off. Mercury goes ahead and interacts with Jupiter. Okay, so Mercury, he rules over our mental plane, rules over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. He's in Sagittarius energy, so there is an optimistic, confident narrative that is very strong, that we can align with, that we can really kind of flip the script on any kind of negative situation on in the Sag energy. Jupiter magnifies. He turns the volume all the way up. He is the most optimistic, most confident energy that we could get. And of course, Jupiter rules over the Sag energy that Mercury's currently sitting in. So now we're having some big ideas, some big perspective shifts, some big narratives that we are now flipping the script on in order for us to grow up, for us to get our shit together, for us to stabilize in whatever little funk we just found ourselves in, and to start building towards something a little bit more positive, a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more exciting. Now, again, we're not going to go too far because the moon in Taurus doesn't really appreciate us projecting ourselves that far in the future. But anywheres other than this dark pit is okay as far as a futuristic alternative goes. The moon is then going to interact with Chiron. Lucky for us, this is in the most positive of ways. This means that we're stabilizing. This means that we're growing in our self-worth. We're reminding ourselves of who it is that we actually are. We're reminding ourselves of all the horrible things that we've gone through, that we've survived through, that we've grown up, that we've matured from, that we really, really have an attitude of gratitude for, because we wouldn't have realized how strong we were. We wouldn't have realized how much skill and talent we actually have. We wouldn't have realized how, I'm going to say, our abilities to bring something better to life actually is when we align with the energies, the inspiration, the imagination, and the self-confidence, the self-worth, to actually see that as long as we believe it, we can bring it to life. So Chiron, of course, when he's aspected in a positive way, we're not sitting in the wounds, we're sitting in healing. This is growth. This is a glow up. This is healing. This is change. This is transformation. We're opening ourselves up. We are flipping the script. We are giving ourselves a pep talk. And from that, we are feeling much better about ourselves, much better about what it is that we have to choose from, what it is that we want to create, what it is that we want to pursue. We're not feeling ripped down, beat down, although we did do it to ourselves. We're not feeling that energy any longer. We're going to kick this whole funk right to the curb at this particular juncture, and we're going to even add to it, because the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Taurus making a positive interaction with Mercury, who happens to be in Sagittarius energy. Our heart space and head space, they're on the same page. They're in agreement. Emotionally speaking, we are giving ourselves the pep talk. We're building ourselves up. We're grounding ourselves in the here and now. The positive narrative, the positive emotions are stabilizing the earlier funk that we've been sitting in. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, he's flipping the script in the best kind of ways. He's in Sagittarius energy. The narrative coming through is the most positive, most encouraging, most supportive pep talk that we could ever really give ourselves. We are in alignment with what it is that we have to do, but this time we're meeting in the middle. We're not projecting ourselves so far into the future that we're overwhelming ourselves in this current emotional state, but we are thinking about what it is that we have to do to get ourselves out of this current situation, this funk, this dark pit, this particular situation, circumstance, and scenario that is constantly triggering the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that we're having about bossing up, about making changes, about really altering the path, the plan, and the strategy, the vision and the dream that we're currently working towards.